I know where the cameras are. I'm like, I always. Oh, there. Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. for the Elk Grove Unified School District Board of Education. The board will meet in closed session to address items 1 through 3 on the agenda. I see there is no public comment, so I would like to then recess into closed session. Okay. Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the Elk Grove Unified School District's board meeting. Instead of using the Zoom platform, we'll be using the Cosumnes Community Service District streaming service. You can access the live stream link from the district's website or directly through CSD's website. Today's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on the district's YouTube channel. The public comment process has shifted to in-person while utilizing the temporary live stream platform. We encourage you to attend the meetings and share your feedback with the board. Your active participation is valued and contributes to the decision-making process. Public comment information. During regular board meetings, the public may make public comments on items on the agenda or items not on the agenda. Requests to make public comment will be accepted for an item up until the board president introduces the item. Generally, members of the public will be given 3 minutes to address the board. If there are 15 or more comments on a specific item, the board will reduce individual comment time to 2 minutes each. If there are 30 or more comments on a specific item, the board will reduce individual comments to 1 minute each. Individuals may not defer their time to another individual speaker to increase their total speaking time. Please be mindful that district students may be watching. You are encouraged to address the board and the public in a respectful manner, such that all those observing, from children to adults, are made to feel welcome, safe, and valued. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group shall be grounds for the board president to provide a warning and then to terminate the individual's privilege of addressing the board. And now we would like to do the Elk Grove Unified Land Acknowledgement.
I'd like to propose that we give 3 minutes for our guest speakers for their presentations tonight. It's a very important issue in our community, and regardless if they're 30 or 20, I think they should get the 3 minutes. And we could do that, vote that as a board.
Okay. Can we get through the opening first? We can bring that. You can bring that up at the time of public comment. Okay. We're going to get through the open at the time for public comment. No. Okay. Land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that the Elk Grove Unified School District administrative facilities and schools occupy the unceded territory of the Miwok, the original people of the skies, land, and waters where we work and learn. The Miwok have cared for these lands since time immemorial. They continue to teach their traditional knowledge that comes from and responds to the needs of the land and the people who share it. May our daily lives and work teaching, learning, leadership, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Miwok for their community and these lands. May we strive to acknowledge the past for the betterment of our future generations. May we look to our tribal partners, the Wilton Rancheria, the descendants of the original people of this land, to assist with the successful education of our community.
Thank you. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to call Miss Emmeline Lanus and Principal Andrew Johnson. Come on up. Come on up, family. Come to the podium. We have some really great things that we're going to read about you first, and then we'll ask you to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Vargas?
All right. Before we get started on the pledge, so the James Rudder Middle School and the entire Florin region are honored to recognize Miss Emmeline Lanus. The Elk Grove Unified School District recognizes the outstanding contributions Miss Lanus has made to James Rudder Middle School and the Florin region. Miss Lanus is the proud mother of 3 wonderful children that optimize everything the Florin region expects from student leaders. Jasmine is an 8th grade student at James Rudder, carrying a 3.5 cumulative GPA. Daughter Jamelyn is a senior at Florin High School and carries a 4.028 GPA. And oldest daughter Jacqueline, Florin High School class of 2020, graduated with a cumulative GPA of 4.3167. Very impressive. The success of her three daughters is a testament to the support and nurturing of Miss Lanus. Wilbert Villada, principal of Florin Elementary, recommended Miss Lanus as a potential parent volunteer when Jasmine transferred to James Rudder. His recommendation resulted in Miss Lanus becoming an integral member of our school site council. She also served Florin Elementary and Florin High School in similar roles. Emmeline Lanus, the staff, and students at James Rudder Middle School recognize and appreciate your support and dedication. You will forever be an esteemed member of the Bear, Roadrunner, and Panther families. Thank you.
And now, if you'd like to lead the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay right there. Stay right there. 1 second.
That was so sweet what you wrote about us.
Okay. Next on the agenda, I'd like to call Dr. Coates for recommendation of the name for the Performing Arts Center at Sheldon High School, Smedberg Middle School.
All right. Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos, staff, and community. I'm excited to be here tonight to bring this item forward. Consistent with our board policy and administrative regulation 7511, the community and staff members from Sheldon High School have requested to name the Performing Arts Center at Sheldon High School, Smedberg Middle School, the Paula D. Duncan Performing Arts Center. We support the recommendation consistent with board policy, and I will bring Mr. Schweitzer here to share more about Ms. Duncan's impressive career.
Good evening. It is with much pride that students, staff, and members of the Sheldon High School community would like to request the naming of the Sheldon High School Performing Arts Center in honor of the school's only principal, Miss Paula Duncan. Paula Duncan retired last year in June of 2024 after 51 years of service in education. Just going to pause. I'm 51. In 1989, she started working for Elk Grove Unified when she was hired as a principal at Elk Grove High School, where she remained until 1997 when she opened Sheldon. She opened Sheldon High School with a vision for a 7th through 12th grade VAPA program that included a performing arts center. She agreed that the Performing Arts Center should be more than just a building that people used or rented occasionally. She strived to get the facility staffed so it could be a theater that community and students throughout the district could use for performances for instrumental music, vocal music, dance, and theater performances. I'm happy to introduce some staff members from Sheldon tonight. We have Roya Fox, Tracy Ramondini, and Teresa Wen, who are going to share a few words.
Good evening. My name is Roya Fox, and I would like to first start off by saying that in Elk Grove Unified School District, we are so lucky to have not one but two beautiful performing arts centers. Last year, when Paula announced her plan to retire at the end of the 2023-2024 school year, we as a staff knew that it signified the end of an era, or many eras. Immediately, the leadership team tried to think of something that we could do that would be meaningful to the legacy that Paula created in Elk Grove. While we thought of parties and get-togethers to celebrate, and those things crossed our mind, we wanted to do something that was a bit more everlasting. After all, she had spent 51 years in education, most of those as a principal for Elk Grove Unified School District, first at Elk Grove High School and then Sheldon. Being the VAPA department chair for the last 8 years and a theater teacher at Sheldon for the last 23 years, I have witnessed firsthand the amazing gift Paula has given the arts. Not only did she support us, but the things that she supported and has put in place for the arts have benefited thousands of students, not just at Sheldon, but in all of Elk Grove Unified School District. It only seemed fitting that the Sheldon Smedberg Performing Arts Center be named the Paula D. Duncan Performing Arts Center.
Good evening, and thank you to the board for allowing me this opportunity today. I'm Tracy Ramadini, and I'm a PE teacher and have had the pleasure of working with Paula for the past 26 years. I'm here to advocate for the renaming of the Sheldon Smedberg PAC to the Paula Duncan Performing Arts Center. I'll be using one of Paula's philosophies, which is Together We're Better, because I'm actually here to for all the people on behalf of them that aren't here today, all the stakeholders that I've spoken with. So Paula loved Sheldon. It was a huge part of her life. Her driving force, though, was her love for her students and her staff and trying to make things better for all of us. That was her desire. Her true commitment to all the students and staff were unwavering. She was a very present principal. She was attending all the school activities. She pulled double lunch duty every day with the students. That was her idea, to be there every day. She knew the students by name. She would visit with them. She was always the first one on campus, the last one to leave. She truly believed that all the students could learn and be successful. She had set very high standards for us. She had high goals, high expectations, and she encouraged and expected us to do the same for our students. Thus, we had very high levels of achievement. Paula was a visionary, very progressive thinker, and long before PLCs, she was having us work collaboratively in our departments. She was a staunch supporter and advocate for all the programs, including, obviously, the Visual and Performing Arts program. And she showed her support in many ways. In addition, she was always at the performances. So she walked the talk also. She didn't just support from afar. She was in there. Her legacy can already be seen in many different ways in our staff and our stellar programs, in the fact that many staff members are former students. And when you look to the educational community and the leadership, you're going to see many people that Paula Duncan trained. Naming the PAC would the Paula Duncan Performing Arts Center would also be a perfect legacy for Paula. I can remember that we would approach Paula with an idea, and oftentimes she would say, well, what would 100 people on the street think of your idea? Just to kind of get us to look at things from different viewpoints and different shoes. And I can tell you with 100% accuracy that if you asked 100 people on our campus, 100 out of 100 would say, please vote yes to rename the Performing Arts Center to the Paula D. Duncan Arts Center. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Teresa Nguyen, and I am an art teacher at Sheldon High School. The following words come from some of the retired VAPA teachers of Sheldon High School. Paula D. Duncan was a dedicated supporter of the visual and performing arts. Her leadership allowed us to set high goals and expectations for both ourselves and our students. Paula's advocacy for the arts and her encouragement of collaboration across disciplines were key to building a strong and vibrant VAPA department at Sheldon. Our program's success was due largely to Paula's unwavering support. She consistently recognized and celebrated our students' artistic achievements, creating an environment where creativity could flourish and thrive. Paula D. Duncan also hired strong leaders in each discipline and empowered us to pursue our visions in our respective programs. Her belief in our potential and her commitment to the arts left a lasting impact on our school and community. I stand here as a result of that. I graduated from Sheldon High School in 2017, and today I am a fourth-year teacher teaching AP Art at my alma mater. Because of the high expectations and value Paula placed on the arts, our students averaged a remarkable 4.47 out of 5 on last year's AP Art test scores. Paula reminds us that art is not just an elective, but a necessity in every child's education. Paula D. Duncan's enduring impact on Sheldon High School's visual and performing arts programs makes her a deserving namesake for the Performing Arts Center. Her vision, dedication, and support were foundational in creating a space where students can explore their artistic talents and excel in their creative pursuits. Naming the PAC after Paula would be a fitting tribute to her legacy, ensuring that future generations recognize and are inspired by the lasting contributions she made to our school and the arts community. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Roya, Tracy, and Teresa. As you can see, Paula Duncan has been influential to thousands of Sheldon High School students, parents, and staff. She leaves behind a legacy that every day is a great day to be a Husky, and tonight we request that the board approve the naming of the Smedberg Sheldon Performing Arts Center to the Paula D. Duncan Performing Arts Center.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards related to this item?
Madam President, we have no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to approve the naming of the Performing Arts Center at Sheldon High School, Smedberg Middle School, the Paula D. Duncan Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, it's with pride for Paula that I make a motion to rename the Smedberg Sheldon PAC to the Paula D. Duncan Performing Arts Center.
It's been moved by Mr. Fortuna, seconded by Mr. Yang. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have other staff members from Sheldon here today?
Or Smedberg.
Or Smedberg? Or families from Sheldon? Please stand if we could just recognize you. The Sheldon Smedberg family. So staff, families. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, and now I'd like to call for Ms. Bloomquist to present Hispanic Heritage Month resolution.
Good evening, Madam President, esteemed board, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos. As part of the Board of Education's legacy of advocacy for equity and the value of diversity within our school district, members of the Board of Education have an opportunity to recognize September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month. In September 1968, so quite a while ago, Congress authorized President Lyndon B. Johnson to proclaim National Hispanic Heritage Week. The observance was expanded in 1988 to a month-long celebration. America celebrates the culture and traditions of U.S. residents who trace their roots to Spain, Mexico, and the Spanish-speaking nations of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. September 15th was chosen as the starting point for the celebration because it's the anniversary of independence of 5 Latin American countries: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and September 18th, respectively. Therefore, the Board of Education is requested to adopt Resolution Number 18, designating September 15th through October 15th of this year as Hispanic Heritage Month.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, there are no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to adopt Resolution Number 18, designating September 15th through October 15th, 2024 as Hispanic Heritage Month.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Chavez Espinosa, seconded by Mr. Vargas. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And I get to keep you up there for Filipino American History Month.
All right. As part of the Board of Education's legacy of advocacy for equity and the value of diversity within our school district, members of the Board of Education have an opportunity to recognize October 2024 as Filipino American History Month. The Filipino American National Historical Society established Filipino American History Month in 1988, and subsequently every October, many communities throughout the United States and its territories have celebrated this occasion, not only to commemorate the anniversary of the presence of the first Filipinos on U.S. soil and to observe its heritage, but also to recognize the social, intellectual, and economic contributions of Filipinos and Filipino Americans in this country. The California Department of Education first recognized Filipino American History Month in 2006, and the state legislature passed 2 bills calling for the integration of Filipino American history into curriculum. Filipino Americans play a vital role here in each USD community, including more than 3,000 students who identify as Filipino. Therefore, the Board of Education is requested to adopt Resolution Number 19, designating October 2024 as Filipino American History Month.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards for this item?
Madam President, there are no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to adopt Resolution Number 19, designating October 2024 as Filipino American History Month.
All right. I,
Moved by Mr.
Well,
Perez?
no, he was going to say that.
Second over here.
I was going to say, I would love to move the Filipino American History Month.
And then did you second, Mr. Perez? Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Yang, seconded by Mr. Perez. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Schweitzer. Our High School Voter Education Week's resolution.
Good evening, Board President Chamberson, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. We're here tonight to share information on High School Voter Education Weeks. California Education Code 49040 designates the last 2 weeks, each September and April, as High School Voter Education Weeks. Voter Education Weeks provide an opportunity for students to become actively engaged participants in our democracy and put these students on a path to a lifetime of civic engagement and voting. We strongly encourage our high schools and students to participate in High School Voter Education Weeks to engage students in pre-registration, voter registration, mock election, and mock trial activities. This evening, the Board of Education is requested to approve Resolution Number 20, 2024-25, and to declare September 16 through 27, 2024 as High School Voter Education Weeks.
Thank you. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, there are no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to approve Resolution Number 20, which proclaims the period from September 16th through 27th, 2024 as High School Voter Education Weeks.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Vargas and seconded by Ms. Chaires Espinosa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 4, student expulsion involuntary transfer recommendations. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the board in closed session regarding student expulsion? I would then like to call for a motion to approve the recommendations for student expulsion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Vargas and seconded by Mr. Yang. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Return from expulsion. Is there anyone who would like to address the board in closed session regarding a return from student expulsion? No? I would then like to call for a motion to approve the request for return from student expulsion.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Vargas and seconded by Ms. Chaires Espinosa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comment for items not on the agenda. Mr. Perez, did you want to bring forth your motion?
This issue today cut it down to 2 minutes or what. This issue is a growing issue in this district, and it
Okay.
needs the full attention
Does he speak to the
and
mic?
input from
We-
our community. Thank you.
Okay, so your motion is to allow 3 minutes regardless of number. Thank you.
Do you have the
Okay.
actual number of people who requested?
Yes, that probably would have been good information to ask for ahead of time. Yes, it is exactly 15.
15, all right.
So the limit is not triggered, is what you're saying?
I believe it is triggered because it's 15 or more. So I think that the motion is to, because the rules are that the chair shall do that, I believe that the motion would be to set aside the rules. And I would second that motion.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So we have, the motion is to set aside the rules, allow 3 minutes for all 15. It has been moved by Mr. Perez, seconded by Mr. Vargas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Vargas.
All right, let's start. So first up, excuse me, will be Doug Gonzalez, followed by Rachel Alves. And so if the speaker, as the speaker comes down to the podium, the next person in line, it'd be great if you wanted to line up behind them so that we can keep this moving.
Thank you. First grade, third grade, fifth grade, or sixth, the Jesse Baker learning environment cannot be categorized by just 1 or 2 grades. It is a life-changing educational experience that fosters a human connection for our students. My son, John Ray, has attended Jesse Baker since he was 5 years old. The Jesse Baker experience has allowed him to focus on speech and language, connecting with other students, forming lifelong friendships, participate in Baker games, Project Ride, swim, and learn how to ride a bicycle, and sing with Mr. Anthony, and do other things, music appreciation activities. All this is possible at Jesse Baker. Suggested reforms could cause feelings of anxiousness, being consumed by isolation, and negative feedback, and other feelings where inclusion is not a priority, but grades and academics are. It is important that we honor Jesse Baker, the Jesse Baker, a mother who fought vigorously for the rights of students with special needs to receive a free and appropriate education. But she didn't just stop there. Her intention was also to improve the level and quality of life and services available to her son, Clarence Frank, and other children. Jesse Baker has delivered and built on that foundation. It is a place that has championed many students by motivating them each day, challenging students with goals set in their IEPs, and recognizing good behavior for overall safety and security of the students. It is a place where kindness is appreciated as well as expected. It is a place where students with special needs feel safe. In education, we rarely discuss the value and importance of a human connection, relationships. James Comer says, no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says, all learning is understanding relationships. Our family and Baker staff understand our students. They understand their individual needs. As a parent of a child who attends Baker, I see a school full of love and compassion for learning at every age, every day, where students are excited to learn and teachers are thriving at what they do, seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Rachel Alves, followed by Tina Calanchuni.
Hello, everyone. I'm here tonight as a mom of a severely disabled daughter. She has a really rare condition that impacts her completely and globally. We have been in the school system now for over 6 years, and at Jessie Baker this past. We moved to Elk Grove specifically for this program because nothing else in the past was working for our girl. Hands down, we've never felt more included than we have at Baker. From the staff, the community, all the community events. Audrey's physical, social, and emotional needs are met daily in a way that we have never experienced before. Inclusion on a general ed campus did not work for our daughter and does not work for a lot of kids like her. It was definitely not the future that we felt would make her be the most successful and best her. The community here at Jessie Baker has been life-changing for all of us and my entire family, and it would be a great disservice to the disabled community if it weren't an option going forward for any kid of any age. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Tina, followed by Nate Smith.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to have a few moments to speak about, I guess, rumors that are going around. So my name is Tina Calancini, and I have the pleasure of working with the majority of the Baker students throughout their school year in a therapeutic horseback riding program that's located on Jessie Baker's campus. Project Ride has had a 45-year ground lease with the district, and we provide services in exchange for contracted lessons and a portion of the funds that help us transport our horses back and forth. Tonight, however, I'm not here to speak about Project Ride. I'm 24 years with Project Ride, and I've had the pleasure of watching out my door the advances made at the Jessie Baker School. You're going to hear a lot of passion because it's a passionate subject. In my industry, therapeutic horseback riding, when I go to a regional or national conference, I get asked all the time, whose idea was it to pair a therapeutic riding program with a public school? It's a shining diamond. And all of those centers would love to have a Jessie Baker school and the relationship that we have. So, kudos to the school district, to the school board, to the staff, the paraeducators that affect the children day in and day out because they've perfected it. And Jessie Baker didn't start this. It wasn't an anomaly. It was meant to be here, and these kids are meant to be here. Changing transition, one of the hardest things for them is transitioning, and to move them someplace else off of the campus that has for most of them been their entire school career. Many of you attend their graduation, you hear their teachers speak about their school career. One of the reasons it's the most successful, in my opinion, is because they're stable. They're stable, secure, and safe before they're anything. Before they learn anything or taught anything, they're welcomed in and they feel safe and secure as if they are at home. And we know that's where their best growth takes place. So I would just ask that there be no changes made at all. It works perfect like it is. Anne Regali assured me earlier tonight that this is rumor and that things are going to stay the way they are. So I'm going to take her at face value. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Next up is Nate Smith, followed by Monica Jimenez.
Good evening, board members, President Jamerson, and Superintendent Hoffman. My name's Nate Smith, and I have a son who goes to Jessie Baker. I'm speaking to you this evening on the topic that Jessie Baker is no longer accepting elementary school students. There's been no official communication on this change, its implementation plan, or understanding of the impacts it has on the disability community. Last Friday, we received our first official communication from Director Regali on this matter, and honestly, it seems like this communication was only provided because parents were being denied access and told the school that is no longer accepting elementary students. The letter doesn't actually address any plan and kind of confirms by omission that this is the intent of the district, and there are a couple of things mentioned in that letter that I'd like to address this evening. First, the letter states that the school has experienced a decline in enrollment as more parents and IEP teams place students at comprehensive schools. This almost seems like a self-inflicted wound, either by neglecting to inform parents of Jessie Baker as an option or outright lying to parents that this school is not accepting students. This is also in direct conflict with your facilities master plan, which shows a 10-year anticipated growth at Jessie Baker. The letter also states that the district has made progress to offer a full range of services within each geographic region. I'd like to know how many elementary schools in Elk Grove Unified offer hydro and hippotherapy on campus. Finally, the letter provides the general understanding that the IDEA Act is what's mandating that schools educate in the least restrictive environment. While this is true, there's a qualifier in there that's to the maximum extent appropriate, and the use of supplementary aids and services. I'd like to know how the district provides these aids when year over year the annual budget plan for them is decreased from $23 million in 2023 to $141,000 this year. What this letter implies is the district's position is elementary students are better served in self-contained or integrated learning environments than in a school like Jessie Baker, and this cannot be more wrong. We've somehow allowed an ableist impression of the word inclusion to mean being around peers that are neurotypical. Inclusion is about being around people who share the same background, ability, age, and demographic. This push of the district is only to put children into this inclusion model is a step in the wrong direction. It means our students must fail at being successful in the inclusion model before they can be considered for placement in a school like Baker. If you are blissfully unaware, our students have been failing their entire lives. They failed at meeting developmental goals, they failed at meeting educational goals, they failed at meeting societal goals. And this district seeks to continue this pattern of failing before looking for support. As a school board and superintendent of Elk Grove Unified, you are responsible for the overall educational vision and implementation of district schools. If this is the vision, then we need to know about it. If it's not, then we need to take a look at the leadership you put in place. I'm asking this topic be put on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Monica Jimenez, followed by Pam Chong.
Good evening, board members. My name is Monica Jimenez, and I am the parent of a 6-year-old that attends Jessie Baker. I'm here tonight with many families from the Baker community requesting transparency for the long-term future of Jessie Baker, which serves moderately to severely disabled children. I understand that this topic is not on the agenda, and because of that, you cannot engage in a conversation about the matter, but what we are requesting is for this to be placed on the agenda for future meetings so that it can be discussed in a public forum. As I mentioned, my son is 6, and in the 1st through 4th grade classroom at Jessie Baker, he has Shaw-Gibbs, which is it's a rare syndrome that causes physical and cognitive disabilities. He has many limitations, but he's a ray of sunshine, he's a professional hugger, and if he engages with you, he's going to ask you for ice cream in English, Spanish, and sign language. So, unlike most parents who prepare their children to reach 18, the majority of the parents at Baker were in a different club. The majority of us will take care of our children till our last days on earth, and then after that, we will depend on family, friends, and the community basically to assist them. So with that said, Jessie Baker is a phenomenal campus, unlike any other. It's truly fantastic. The teachers there, the staff, very consistent, very welcoming. They know the needs of the children. The children engage very well with each other, and they have their own activities, their own, spirit week. They have a prom when they're older. They have Baker games. They have things that make it feel that core school essence, that experience, in addition to, of course, meeting all the needs that they have in terms of speech and OT, physical therapy, those kinds of things. So at the beginning of the school year, when we heard rumors that families were being turned away, it was very concerning. It was like an atomic bomb dropped in our lap. Most of us have had experiences with the integrated model, and for most of us, it didn't work. The children, from our perspective, were like a subsect of the school, right? Not included in, different events and just kind of there. So I reached out on this matter. I sent an email, and I received a phone call from a district representative that confirmed that the goal was for Jessie Baker to move to middle school through an adult program, and that this model of a special ed only school was essentially like a black eye for this district in the view of the state and somehow caused an issue with funding. So the letter's been issued that we've all seen from the district, but I think there's still a lot of hesitancy The families question whether Jesse Baker will continue to serve elementary students for the long term. That's basically what we want to clarify, elementary students for the long term. We've been told and we've seen in writing, with that, I'm requesting transparency and for this item to be added to the agenda.
Thank you. Next up is Pam Chuang. There, Pam. Okay. Next up then is Elizabeth Thompson, followed by Lee Ramali.
First, thank you for all listening to us. I have a little bit of a different perspective than a lot of the other parents here. I'm short, sorry. Better? I have a little bit of a different perspective. I have 2 students that attend Jesse Baker. We tried inclusion programs in public schools in Pleasanton, where we were from. It was emotionally difficult for them. They felt different. It hurt them. We moved to homeschool until we realized that they had to have some socialization. We integrated them back into the public school system. It resulted in a situation that changed my older son's life forever. He still suffers consequences from what he experienced there, and he will never be the same. It caused me to search for years to find a place that I could take my children, that I wouldn't worry, that they would feel good being who they were. And Jesse Baker does that for every single student and for the staff. It's not just a school, it's a family. The parents take care of each other. We see each other. These kids feel typical here. They don't feel that on other campuses, and for some kids that might be the way to go. But those feelings, I know better than anyone, happen when our children are very young. And I tried every direction I could to give that to them in a traditional inclusion model. It doesn't work sometimes. We have to have Jesse Baker for our younger children. Mine are now 17 and 18. By all rights, I don't have to be here saying anything. It won't affect mine. But I care so much about this program and what it's done to heal my child and what it does for the other children that will continue behind him, that I would like this item added to the agenda so that we can get clarification as to why they say there's a declining amount of interest in the program when I've personally sent many parents in this direction who then report back that they were told, your child may not qualify, or they're not the right fit, they're not even evaluated, or they're told you have to go to your local school. If it doesn't work, we'll look at another placement. And they're kind of bullied into staying at their public neighborhood school. They have to fight to get their children in Baker. And I tell them, don't give up because it's worth it. I had to fight to get my children in here, and it was the best thing I ever did. I also moved my entire family, our businesses, left my family, and continue to stay where we are just for this campus that offers everything educational and the proper access that they require. The physical program is catered specifically to our kids. We don't have to worry about fighting IEPs. It's all there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Lee Ramali, followed by Dustin Noble.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman. My name is Lee Ramali, and I'm a retired Jesse Baker teacher. I taught special ed for 34 years, 26 of them in Elk Grove. I taught a self-contained class and was an inclusion specialist. The last 18 years of my career, I was at Jesse Baker, where I mainly taught the older students who are turning 22 and transitioning into adult life. During those 18 years, I have seen the uniqueness of the school and the unique educational opportunity it provides to students of all ages. I have seen the teaching staff with decades of special ed experience be exemplary in their instruction and their compassion for the students they teach. I have seen the educational benefit of having an adaptive PE teacher, a language, speech, and hearing specialist, a nurse, another specialist on campus who can answer questions, provide assistance, and work collaboratively throughout the school day and the school week. I have seen the benefit of Baker teachers utilizing an educational curriculum that continues from class to class and progresses with the individual student. I have seen the benefit of the same class-to-class continuity with Baker staff having knowledge and implementing the school-wide PBIS behavior program and providing school-wide behavioral expectations. I have seen students thrive and reach their potential as they turn 22 years of age and leave Baker as good citizens and wonderful representatives of Elk Grove Unified School District. I realize the importance of inclusion and would not suggest that Baker would be appropriate placement for all students. Yet there are students for whom it is an appropriate placement, and the federal law, IDEA, supports that. The school is named for a phenomenal woman who advocated for her son and others so they could attend public school and have equal access to an education. I ask that Elk Grove Unified School District continue to support Jesse Baker School and provide an equal opportunity for students of all ages. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Dustin Noble, followed by Samuel Vu.
Good evening, Board President Jamerson, board members, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. 2 years ago, almost to the day, I stood before this board for the first time. I spoke out due to programmatic changes to special education services and inclusion, a change that happened due to a staffing need, a change that was made without gauging the impact to students, family, and staff. This was a change that to this day has had long-lasting impact, with it still very much being a work in progress. I say all of this because change is hard. Even rumors of change can be hard, especially to our families. From the moment our children are diagnosed or born with a disability, we are involved in every aspect of their life until the moment we take our last breath, especially their education and services. Being informed and included in the decision-making is never an ask, it's a requirement. Today, there is a lot of talk in the SPED community about changes to Jesse Baker. A lot of rumors, unanswered questions, and concern from families. From what we have assessed, this situation was the culmination of miscommunication and misrepresentation to families seeking out Jesse Baker as an option for their child, something that needs to be rectified as soon as possible. To the Jesse Baker families here, I know how you all feel. The questions swirling, the lingering concerns, questions about staffing, placements, all of it. All I can say is work closely with your IEP team. My organization, EG Speaks, is also available as a resource to families. Join the Community Advisory Committee to Special Education. Our first meeting of the school year is next week, September 11th, from 5:30 to 7:30 at James Rudder Middle School. And guess what? It's all about IEPs. To our SPED staff in the district, please personally connect with all Jesse Baker families as soon as possible to provide clarity and transparency. And to all of our families here, just stay involved and stay engaged. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Samuel Vu, followed by Cynthia Speakman.
Hi, my name is Samuel Vu, and I am a Boy Scout in Troop 243, and I am doing a requirement for a merit badge where I have to attend a board meeting and I have to ask a question. So I am in the 7th grade at the Catherine Albiani Middle School, and on my first day, I thought it was pretty cool. It was amazing. I learned a lot. The teachers were cool and fun, and so one problem I have been hearing about is about fights. Today, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a fight today with 2 people. And these fights make me feel a little bit worried about me, my friends, and the other students. So I was just wondering about why these students are fighting. Why are they behaving like this? So I was just wondering if you guys had any answers.
Mr. Hoffman, I know that we cannot actually answer, but I think you can Make a statement.
So, Samuel, first of all, thank you for being here tonight and being brave enough to stand up in front of the full group and do that. So, very proud of you. What I can do is we can get you in touch with the site principal, Mr. Rosenfels, and work through your questions and be able to follow up with you after the meeting. But because this item isn't on the agenda, the board can't actually answer questions during this meeting. But we can do a follow-up with you to make sure we answer the question for you. Okay? Again, brave for being here. Appreciate it very much, and welcome to middle school. It's big time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Cynthia.
Hi.
Followed by, one sec.
Oh, sorry.
Followed by Cameron Munoz.
Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Cynthia Speakman, and I run an after-school theater arts program called On Stage Theater Arts. I have these little brochures. First off, I have to say that I am very impressed that Elk Grove has a special needs school. That is just yay, guys. Bravo. Yay. I have a degree in elementary and special education, but I believe very strongly in theater arts, and I believe it creates confidence. And I started this after-school program 25 years ago in the Sac City School District, and we became a nonprofit 2 years ago. We work with second through sixth graders at the new schools that we start. Our class sizes are 20 and under. We work with all kinds of kids, whether they be special needs kids or regular, normal old kids. We believe very strongly that theater arts is a creative and imaginative thing, and we write the plays with the kids. So they come in the first day, we give them a bunch of costumes, they figure out who their characters are, they tell us who their characters are, we put the play together from there. And we teach the whole process of theater. We teach them the backdrop, they paint the backdrops, they paint the sets and create the sets. And it's an idea where they get to figure out where they belong in the whole picture of theater. And I come to you today to find out, well, first off, to let you know that we would like to move into Elk Grove and spread out the program in Elk Grove. And we're looking for funding for scholarships.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Cameron Moniz, followed by Ann Hennessy.
Hello, board. Thanks for having me today for the public comment. My name is Cameron Moniz. I'm a senior at Pleasant Grove High School. I run our school's academic decathlon team, as well as vice president of our school's science Olympiad team. Clubs to me are especially important. That's where I make all my friends. It's where you can learn about your own culture for the cultural clubs. And for the clubs I run, you can learn something new. It brings in freshmen and sophomores, and it gives them a chance to get outside class and do something new. My disappointment, however, is learning that new clubs wouldn't be allowed at Pleasant Grove High School. My disappointment was only increased when I learned that this is a district issue. I learned from two of my friends. Clubs to me, as I said, are super important, but more importantly, I want to ask the lack of transparency between the district and our school. The two of the students that I talked to were trying to establish clubs at our school, one of which was a community service club, did not know about this change until 3 weeks after school started. I think it's fundamental that the communication between our school and the district is important for our students so that they understand these changes, and small or big. As a final note, I'd like to mention the Jesse Baker school situation. After coming today and hearing about the 15 speakers that have spoken today, I wholeheartedly support their decision and keeping the changes the way that they should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Ann Hennessy, followed by Nizreen Asaf.
Hi, my name's Ann Hennessy. I'm a retired teacher from your district, retired in May. I'm also a mom I was going to say retired mom, and my daughter said, "You're not retired from that." She graduated from your schools and is at Sac State now. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for my employment with your district. I loved working with everybody here. I loved working for your district. I have a lot of respect for this district. It wasn't my first one that I worked at. We moved from Southern California up here. Really appreciate what you all did for my daughter. She also was on an IEP when she went through school, and now she's at Sac State. Large part because of Elk Grove Unified School District. So when I watched the board meeting, the special board meeting on August 20th, it hurt my heart. We don't let our kids act like that. We need to pull it together. I don't know what can be done. I don't know what to say. I just felt like I needed to come here and say, it's not okay. All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Next up is Nizreen, followed by Dr. Jazz Kaur.
Good afternoon. You guys may have seen me actually a couple weeks ago. I was here speaking on the facilities plan with Dr. Coates over there. I'm actually stopping in completely pales to comparison of what's going on back here, but I do want to make a note. It seems that the theme is a lot of communication errors, and we just need that. I am one that is here to talk about the after-school program at Miwok. My children have been at the after-school program for 3 years now, and 2 days before the school year started, we get a note saying that after-school has now been changed and your students have been removed from the school, from the after-school program. And when I called to follow up with, I'm sorry, I should have pulled this up earlier. With the program analyst for that department, and I forget who it was Stewart, I forget, Christine Stewart, I believe was her name. I was told that, they were replaced with new students. And so I don't really know how that works, but after multiple emails, I still haven't received a response. And I'm one to be quite vocal and very, in understanding what happened. I don't know what happened, and I'd like an explanation. There hasn't been, we've been told, there's a waiting list, and a lot of different concerns, but nothing has been responsive from Elk Grove Unified School District, and I think that should be owed to me, at least for that portion of it. Madam President, you said something in the beginning that every child in Elk Grove should feel welcome, safe and valued. And unfortunately, I know my children don't, and I have multiple parents that I'm representing in this comment of the lack of communication from who is going to be the soon director of Miwok Village, Dr. Boyle. And as much as I love Dr. Boyle on a personal level, there needs to be a complete transparency between these parents, the students, and what's going on with the people that are controlling it, okay? From what I've heard, people are being strong-armed to go into the traditional schools that are out here, and the people that are enrolled at Jesse Baker are about 300 to 400 students, whereas students such as mine are being shifted from Miwok to Zender to another school just because it's overcrowding. So I don't really know, and my children have 2 to 3 kids that have special needs in their classrooms. If there's a school that's, situated for special needs, then why are they not being offered to go to Jesse Baker versus shifting other students to the overcrowded schools that are already happening? So anyways, those are my 2 issues, the EXL program, and I will support Jesse Baker if it ever were to be on a ballot or on public comment. Thanks.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Dr. Jazz Kaur.
Good evening again, board, collectively. The last time that I was here was on July 16th. This evening, I am attending to provide some updates and insights since my last meeting. Franklin Elementary finally has its long-awaited and much-needed counselor. Yay! Thank you so much. She's assigned to a site 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, so this is very timely, and our student population is now 960 students, almost 1,000 students, and it's growing year over year. Next, I want to share, after a meeting with Mr. Ross and the district data specialist, the research department on August 7th. On August 7th, I met with Mr. Ross and the district, and it's in regard to the data that I had been requesting for school year 23-24. What was the data used to make those decisions? Well, I received 2 graphs, and they're beautiful, colorful, and I did my analysis, and I just want to kind of share what I learned. The 10 qualitative criteria identifiers provided previously in the letter dated June 13th by the Lozano Smith Law Firm were only partially reflective of how school site counselors are identified. They were only quantitative. The dialogue demonstrated that I had with Mr. Ross that there is a larger piece that is a qualitative component, which is not documented, and it is subjective. Okay? Mr. Ross was not able to explain much of this process. I kept my inquiry limited, as I could tell he felt uncomfortable when I requested specifics, and I knew he was wrapping up for his last few weeks before sailing off into retirement. The storm graph data contained school year 23-24 data, so obviously I knew that was not used to make 23-24 school year decision. However, it did demonstrate and it gave evidence and the perception of cherry picking, because I highlighted all the schools that do have counselors, and if you look at a storm graph, the need up here is greater. So it seems like a high need school gets picked, and then a low need, just to kind of balance it, because that's the rationale that was explained to me. That's not data-driven decision-making. The graph did demonstrate 2 facts to me, that Title I schools have counselors, okay? The remaining counselor assignments are subjective, and data-driven decision-making is not taking place. So with that, I close with the following recommendations to the board, and I guess my time is up, and I will email that information.
Thank you. And with that, Madam President, we have no additional blue cards.
All right. Moving on to item number 6, consent agenda. Are there any blue cards on the consent agenda?
Madam President, there are no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to approve items 1 through 33 on the consent agenda. Go ahead.
I'd like to pull item number 1, 6. Oh, before that, I'd like to make the motion that the next board meeting, we have a meeting, subject matter regarding this subject matter.
There's a process for that. There's a process. There's a process.
You don't go by Robert rules.
You know the process.
We don't.
The process
Sit down,
has been
please.
explained to you.
The process is in the handbook. The process has been explained. Yes. Right now, you are asking to pull items 1, 6.
11, 13, 32. And stick around because there are items regarding special ed.
Okay. 1, 6, 11, 13, 32. I would then like to call for a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 33, excluding 1, 6, 11, 13, and 32.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Fortuna and seconded by Mr. Yang. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Perez.
I still don't qualify for a mic here. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one either.
Oh, my God. Okay, then somebody's not doing their job here then. Let's get to work. All right. Approval of board policies. I'm only going to concentrate on political activities of employees, and on this issue, the dress code and grooming are issues that I'm not sure if our school board representative reviewed and are going to give input on that, but yet I think our student advisor or student representative should bring that to our public schools, high schools, elementaries to give us some input. But I don't think there was time to do that, or there wasn't given any time to do that. So anyway, number one, questions to follow, board members.
I do want to clarify something.
What?
The policy you're talking about is for the adults, not the kids.
Dress
Because
and
the
grooming.
dress, yeah, for the adults.
Okay.
If you'd have read it, it's for the
Yes.
adults, because we did the full comprehensive, schools involved, board involved, kids involved,
Okay.
when we redid the dress code for
Okay.
students. So
Thank
it'd be
you.
helpful if we knew what we were referring to. Thank you.
Yes, but like I said, on these issues, I want to know from our units, labor units, did they read these individual political action issues, policies are changing, because what they're going to be taken away from you through all these forms or these new policies, your ability to take leave off from your work to participate in a political party, either, of your liking. So if you review this on the original form, you have that ability to take time off, but I do not see that within this new policies. So I want to bring that to your attention. You should be very astute of that, because the fact that it's taking away your ability to take time off from your work and work in the civic engagement process. The other issue I have is I always thought that church and schools are separated. So our politics and schools should be separated. And I'm not sure of this, that we could use schools for political meetings and activities and campaigns. I never, this is new to me, so I like to have somebody check that out. Okay, that's it. But I'm not going to answer any questions. I just want to bring that to my fellow employees. If you want to have discussion, we can have discussions in our closed session.
We don't know what item you're talking about, Tony. We don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, there's a few of these.
Can you cite them, please?
4119.25 may use, that's in that language, there's a paragraph on that. And on 2319.25, there's a paragraph on that. May use school facilities for meetings, including political activities or permitted under the Civic Center Act and district policy. But I was wondering also, if employees could do that, can students actually have political meetings at schools? So, that's a question I need to have addressed. Okay, this is going to raise a lot of things. Okay, does Elk Grove have political activities for students? Can students wear political buttons for such and such political candidates? Can employees do that? See, that's up in the air. That's an issue of freedom
Not
of
up in the
speech.
air.
So anyway, those are questions that I'm concerned about. Okay, I got a call from the Sacramento Central Democratic Party. I asked them to review this. They were wondering, can the Sacramento Central Democratic Party register students on campus, use the facilities, and also register students on campus? Because, according to this, they say they can. So they want to be very clear of their do's and don'ts of what they can do on these campuses. That's not answered on these things. Okay, there's 3111.2 political activities of school personnel. The personnel leave for political activities. Leave of absence without pay for political activities may be granted for purpose of being a candidate for political office or for holding political office upon a proper request and mutual agreement. That's fine with me, but they will not give you time off to run on a campaign. They left that out. The old one that we no longer use had that language that you may take political leave upon the administration's okay. That's the one on schools regarding board policies.
So we're on to number six now.
Number six is variable term credential waivers. Again, I do not approve giving waivers to teachers who are not qualified or planning to be, or they do not have to complete credentials according to this. They need additional time to complete the necessary requirements for recommendations by the credentialing program. In other words, what's happening now, they are going to request some teachers to provide English language learners.
Mr. Perez, these are specific. If you actually look at the job classifications, they're specific to CTE programs, career technical education programs, where we transition professionals who've done the work for years and years and years, and they need some time to meet the credentialing issues, but they have vast experience in these areas and are a great add to the district, and the state recognizes the value of this, and that's why they give us the additional time to meet this requirement.
That's 7. 11. Now I'm on 11. Oops, that one. This one right here, this is number 11, ratification of contracts. We have one contract is for $814,500. It's a contract 220063.3, AT Vantage. Increase the contract amount by $814,500 to include the second year funding for the contract. This is for district athletics. Just recently, I heard that Florin High and Valley High are no longer going to have a football program. So I did not have the opportunity to look at that contract. So as a result of not having a football program at Valley High or Florin High, was that contract language in that particular contract is going to be deducted from this contract amount? Yes or no? So that's what I'm wondering about on that one.
That's what you're wondering, okay.
So you could please check into that. What I'm noticing in all these new contracts for meetings we are having throughout the district, And we are spending a lot of meetings throughout our district in the various areas, which is adding up to a lot of money. So please look at that and analyze. Give me a total of that, of those particular off-site meeting sites and how much we're spending. It's getting really ridiculous. It's getting up there into the thousands now.
Part of the reason is, Mr. Perez.
Just 1 month.
Mr. Perez.
What?
Part of the reasons is related to the boardroom reconstruction, so that room is not available to us currently. One of the advantages is we do have a relationship with the CSD, which we're in the room right now, and we do an exchange of services, so we're actually able to use rooms. But these are rooms right now that we need to be able to run program and run meetings when we've lost space at the district office during the reconstruction.
I said, there's a few of these contracts and sites, we could have them other schools, at other high schools, elementaries and high schools.
The kids are at the schools, Mr.
Yes,
Perez.
no, there's places out there, Number okay, let me see, that was, okay, I'm on 13 now. Consolidated application spring data collection. I don't support this because we do not get an equity report or the total of monies or funds district-wide and where they're going geographically by schools. We just, in this particular document, I don't think there is. Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah.
The professional development for teachers, it's $2,021,021. Have we had an evaluation on these professional development of teachers for the last years? I have not seen them. Yes, I have not seen them. The test scores of area Valley High and Florence have not improved. We spend millions of dollars, but they have not improved the outcomes of students in these geographical areas. Yeah. Yeah.
I do see that there's no interpreter here also with sign language or anything, but I would like to be able to focus on everyone, and I actually can't hear you at all when you respond.
Yeah, understood. So anything we can do to keep the room level down. And we can have a interpreter, sign language interpreter here for you. We just need to know ahead of time. Okay.
Okay, there's Sheldon High is going to get a lot of money in this 23-24 Title I. They only have, I think, 43.69% of student body of low-income students. But what I said in these contracts, they are going to get a lot of money for a variety of projects. And this is public information. I could tell you that some of these projects I researched on the internet, bottom line, there's not parity where we're spending Title I fundings. I feel that, Title I's will have, and I'm wondering, what is the criteria? What is the criteria in order to fund these programs? So, there's no equity. If somebody did an analysis and where that money goes versus, area.
Someone does do an analysis of that, and we are compliant.
Okay, yes, you do say that. But, let's go. Okay, that's that 13. I'm going to go jump to 32 since you said there is. Okay, 32 is approval of 24-25 federal addendum to the district LCAP. Here's a big issue. You just mentioned, yes, you do do a study. I haven't seen a paragraph on that Facebook, based on comprehensive needs analysis, resources are being focused in the district goal areas in the following ways. But I haven't, what do you mean by that? I haven't seen that comprehensive needs analysis. You know, I'm wondering if my fellow board members
Have
are
you,
looking
have you
at
read the
that.
LCAP?
I seen the LCAP, but that doesn't, you don't mention LCAP, but and there's no criteria where this money is going at, I feel. Local educational agencies plan provisions, the Early Student Succeed Act, the LCAP federal addendum is completed and submitted to the California Department of Education to apply for ESSA funding. When? When did they do that? And by the way, check this out. We are approving this when this should have been approved, you know, beginning of the school year. So, you know, it's after the fact again.
It is not
A lot
after
of
the
times
fact.
we do these contracts, it's after the fact. Yes. Okay.
Was that the last item?
No, sir.
32, I think, was the last item.
This was, but I have more questions. It says part 1, part D, preventive and intervention programs for children and youth who are neglected, delinquent, and at risk. What's the funding level for that? Or did we actually apply for that funding? I don't think we did, according to this.
Madam President, we're moving
Okay.
into a violation of our governance handbook and a commitment that we
Oh,
make to
sure.
prepare in advance of meetings.
Okay.
This is your warning to wrap up, please.
Yes. Another one. It says here that you want high-quality classrooms, instructions, and curriculum. We don't have, in this particular document, I don't know, or does it say, how much we're going to receive and how much is going to be spent by these particular objectives. And we do not have dollar amounts that we received throughout this document. And why is that?
Mr.
And,
Bettis.
and what schools it's going to go to? And what's the criteria?
Mr.
You
Bettis.
have a lot of activities, Part A and programs, but
Mr.
there's no
Bettis.
mentioned amount of money where it goes.
Did you ask any of these questions to Superintendent Hoffman when you met with him
No,
prior to
I'm
the board
asking
meeting?
you. Do you know? You should know. Every board member should know these questions. And if you can't bring them up today, you can't tell me how much is being spent, then we're all on the same
Mr.
boat.
Bettis.
You do not know. And you're not willing to do that.
This is your second warning.
So?
After your second warning, we voted that your microphone would be silenced.
Silence? Won't be the first time. You don't want no transparency.
Wrap up.
No transparency, just like the community says.
I'd like to call the question. I'd like to call for a motion to approve items on the consent agenda 1, 6, 11, 13, and 32.
So moved.
Madam Chair.
I'll second.
Moved by Ms. Chavez Espinosa, seconded by Mr. Vargas. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I do, because there's no transparency.
Just yes or no, opposed. Do you oppose, yes or no? Okay, motion carries, thank you. We don't need. Bargaining units. Do we have anyone that would like to address the board? No, not tonight, thank you. Okay, Mr. Schweitzer, we have a student board member initial report.
Good evening again, Board President Jamerson, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. The Elk Grove Board of Education places a high priority on increasingly engaging students and leveraging student voice and input, feedback, and decision-making opportunities. The seating of student board member Celine Cheen during the 2024-25 school year has been in direct alignment with this priority. Part of Ms. Cheen's responsibilities as a student board member is to represent all of the students of the Elk Grove Unified School District. Tonight, the board is asked to receive an initial report from student member Cheen to learn about her goals for the 2024-25 school year and how she plans to provide student voice at the board level.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and members of the community. I thank you all for letting me speak today. So as the 2024 to 2025 student board member, it is my duty to strive to represent students to the best of my ability. And I have learned every single day throughout this process and many experiences working with students that is definitely an ongoing, in progress duty that I want to fulfill this year and for many years for many student board members beyond my term. To structure the presentation, the purpose of the presentation is to bring you guys the goals that we have for this term as student board member, as well as the collaborations with students, student equity councils, as well as different district departments and staff. Including that also are the activities that I want to commit to for my term as student board member, as also ways to contact and reach me through social media, as all students can throughout this term as well. So the goals for the 2024 to 2025 student board member term include civic engagement, resources for advocacy, scholarship, partnership, and sustained leadership. And to discuss a little bit more in depth about each of these goals, we have to empower youth civic engagement through versatile, equitable, and community-centered platforms and open forums for all students, including students of historically marginalized and underserved backgrounds, to all come together and share their opinion on policies. Next, we want to promote and develop an increased accessibility of resources for student advocacy, bolstering our knowledge of district systems, policies, and avenues for change making. In addition, we strive to bolster district-wide engagement with scholarships and programs serving all students, including students who have been historically underrepresented in public education and educational opportunity, sharing this information through communications or social media to get students involved. In addition, we strive to strengthen cross-sector, cross-campus, and regional collaboration with student associations, be it from our elementary to middle to high schools, as well as different board member associations across our states, youth-serving nonprofits, and public services and policy that we do have the opportunity to collaborate with. And lastly, building sustained leadership means building leadership practices, infrastructure, and formalizing the materials so that student board members, this generation and the next, as well as advisory councils, will have resources to navigate this process with Elk Grove Unified. Collaborations include, first and foremost, of Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee, which are composed of representatives from each of our high schools to work with the district and engage with the goings-ons. In addition, similar to that is the Student Voice Committee, which are elected representatives from each of our 9 high schools who strive to serve and advocate for their student voice and their interests. Similarly, as well, on each campus, we strive to establish as well as collaborate with student equity councils, which are dedicated bodies and clubs, groups of students who seek to demonstrate student equity and how we can prioritize the voice of students who have been historically underserved or marginalized within society and our communities. We also work in the same note with educational equity program specialists to ensure what I said at the start of my term, that not just simply representing students, but knowing the gaps and disparities that we have to navigate currently and in the future as well. And lastly, I'm working with College and Career Connections program specialists to make these goals tangible, understand the best and viable means to navigate the district as well. Activities coming up within the next couple of months throughout this whole school year include the Know Your Rights campaign. And to summarize, this will be in the form of a media campaign on social media and through newsletters directly engaging with students, diving each month into a term or a section of the Student Bill of Rights. The overall goal being to increase the knowledge of and awareness of what is a Student Bill of Rights and how can we get students to know their rights and understand their role in Elk Grove Unified. Again, strengthening district-wide engagement with and knowledge of the Bill of Rights. In addition, we want to partner with diverse cultural, affinity, equity, and advocacy student groups, primarily because we understand the importance of not just having board resolutions, but understanding what that means in the day-to-day lives of our students. What does Pride Month mean? What does Filipino American History Month mean? What does Hispanic Heritage Month mean? All of these proposals and resolutions have a lasting impact on our students, and we want them to engage and build projects that align with these resolutions. In addition, you can see here our Student Bill of Rights community forums, which are experimental, but really excited to create this of our district, are in-person events that allow students to come in, convene, and discuss why they're interested in student bill of rights, and what ideas do we have that actually align with these terms, not just on paper, but how we see this manifest into our day-to-day contexts. Findings from school visits and student interviews. The Student Voice Committee and I head the Student Voice Committee as student board member, which again are elected representatives from each of our school sites. And the role of the Student Voice Committee is to gather the input, collect testimonies, and provide ways to collect that qualitative data of what students are feeling are the most pressing issues at their school campuses. This strengthens district engagement with students to give them a voice, to acknowledge and highlight students' expressed needs, and develop a framework of activities. Gathering data, feedback, concerns, and ideas from across all school districts will lead to meetings that we have with the Student Voice Committee. The student board member and the Student Voice Committee meet multiple times throughout the year to understand and to debrief what are the most pressing matters and how can we acknowledge and how can we recognize that through either the Student Bill of Rights, through actions, or through collecting this as data that we can use to inform future terms of the student board member. In addition, we have the civic engagement curriculum, which is currently in the works, and one of the things that I am most excited about this term. This is a visitation-based educational workshop / lesson curriculum that we present to students K through 12. We have elementary models where we visit schools and tell them what is a student board member, what is the Board of Education, developing really early in our educational journey for our students the crux of civic engagement. How do we learn about our systems and how to become more informed so that when we grow up, we can choose to be civically engaged citizens in our democracy? And lastly, to wrap up, I want to provide accessible means to contact me and for community members watching in as well who seek to have their student voice represented. My email is up there, as well as the most prominent Instagram of at EGSC SBM, which will include throughout the year summaries of board meetings and policy, student, family, and community resources that we can see throughout EGSC Communications news and notes as well, scholarship information, as well as the Know Your Rights campaign and Student Bill of Rights crucial info, and general opportunities, events, and updates for all of our students in our district. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. I'm going to allow my board members to ask some questions. We'll start with Mr. Yang.
Good evening, Celine. Good presentation, very impressive. Just like to ask a couple questions before I make my comments. Is there any data supports some of these goals under your purpose already from the previous student board members?
Mm-hmm. Every single year before we transition into the new Student Voice Committee and Student Board Member term, we have a convening with the past representatives from previous years of what are the most pressing matters that are affecting our students. Educational equity and diverse representation has been the forefront gathered from these meetings, and we know that this data is not static. While we understand that it is a priority from the past terms, through the Student Voice Committee and through Student Equity Councils, our continuous efforts to gather this data throughout the whole year will continue to inform actions and make sure that it is actually what aligns with what students want in this current moment.
So you're saying there are datas, but there are lack of datas. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that there is a general trend of what the students want, but to get that concrete data and to make that informative actions, we're continuously gathering and meeting with our students before we launch any sort of actionable project to make sure it is the most informed.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get to is these bullet points under purpose, goals, collaboration, activities, contact, and social media. Have you have any sort of data to back it up, or this a new interest area? That's what I'm trying to get to.
This is an interest area to be explored.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah, so I love what you presented. I think there's concrete purpose of getting these bullet points under purpose established. It is for the benefit of the student for sure. So, for example, when you, let's see, let me find a slideshow here. Try to get to the part, okay, so the goals. The scholarship that part, what do you have in mind on that?
So frequently through our college and connection career centers, which are available at every single high school site, counselors frequently share scholarship opportunities, including what is coming up within a couple weeks, the Historically Black Colleges Universities Fair that are either supported by the district or sourced and referenced through district trained staff about what are these opportunities for our students. And to share them, we'll be providing more accessible means and to spotlight these even more, these means and scholarships that are already available to our students, but our job as Student Voice Committee, and in particular as my role as student board member, is to increase that awareness and make sure that these are resources that students do have and will continue to access.
We could talk more offline, but one of the things that I would like to recommend is maybe establish a committee that to help out kids that are failing in whatever subject it may be, and collaborate with counselor and teachers and whoever that could help out the students to bring their grades up. I think that would be a beneficial committee. You as a leader of the students, because all of these are great, but I just like to see the effort of helping out the falling students that need to get the grades up. So, thank you.
Thank you for your
and good luck.
Mr. Vargas? Oh, also, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, we have no blue cards on this item.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions for Ms. Jean?
I don't. I am very much I appreciate the outline of what you plan to do this year, and I'm very much looking forward to your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Fortuna?
No specific questions, Ling. I have to say that I think that the selection of you as our student board member was a little better. Better? Okay. Your selection when Gina and I met with you, we've already shared that from our perspective. You showed that you are involved, that you are thoughtful, that you are deliberate, and that you are articulate, and all those qualities were just shown in your presentation. I look forward to be able to meet with you, and I want to set up an appointment with you. But I don't have any specific questions, and the reason mostly being, other than asking a question out of interest, I know exactly, or I believe you know exactly what it is you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So I don't have any specific questions.
Thank you, Mr. Perez.
I'm always impressed of you student representatives, number one, and your professionalism. What I was getting at regarding earlier, that I want to clarify this though. Did you give input regarding staff dress code, the students?
I did not know.
Yes, that's okay. That's the point. What I thought is the fact that we as adults and parents and all always giving advice, and that's part of our duty. But we dictate what you wear. But do students dictate or give any recommendations how teachers or staff people within our staff in Elk Grove proper or advice how to properly dress? Because I have seen some staff and teachers and a variety of people, I question their dress. So I think you should students should have reviewed that and gave some input how they feel regarding staff. And have you had any experience with staff improperly dressed or heard of that within our school districts? Okay, I tell you what, I don't want to put you on the spot, but, think about that. Because I know, some of us, myself, yeah, we got to dress for professionalism. So anyway, civic engagement, do you know, or your group, are they going to do any data analysis? We gave, resolutions and some paperwork and support this or that we want students to get civic engaged, as young adults. So do you have access, or do your group plan to do any type of data sets or reports regarding the involvement of students this particular presidential elections? And because the fact that recently states that younger generation are going out there and registering, especially women, young women, they say the young 18 to 25 or so, a generation are getting out there to register to vote. So I like to see myself how that is happening within our school district and within our schools, because it's happening. I already seen some preliminary reports that women are going out there, like I said at the last meeting, they are roused up. And I think students are roused up too. So I like to see that. Is there any talk about that within the committee?
Thank you for your input. We definitely do try as a Student Voice Committee to make sure that what we publish out to the student body is informed and backed by sources. And whatever sources we use will be backed and supported in public information about civic engagement that we do try to include.
Okay, yeah. One of the most important things that you mentioned up there was equity and academic outcomes. Do you have access to the California dashboard, or does the committee know anything about that and how they review schools, the highs and lows of different academic subject matter?
It is definitely a potentiality that we can speak to the departments and Elk Grove Unified staff.
So I was wondering, I know you can, but as a group, I think that you should look at because that's a marker with the Department of Education has put forth as like a local report card, school site, district site, all throughout on all these LCAP, issues that, we are supposed to help our student body, and especially low-income Title I programs in which these students are today. 2012, we had achievement gap, and today we have the achievement gap and the COVID gap combined. So we are, we need to evaluate the programs that are working and now not working. So if you could help us on that with your committee, I really, because you're there in a position. You have access. You just know how to need to actually ask for it. And I think you have the golden wand or the golden pass to do that. What you had said right there, what you said, I think page 4. Can you get on page 4 again? Yeah. The Student Equity Councils work with education equity program specialists. The big thing is the funding of our programs going to the targeted population and the LCAP. And what outcomes have we done? Positively, negatively, and I don't want to say like we're not losing out on this battle against illiteracy, third grade reading levels, but yet there's model programs I know for sure out there in our district. What are they? And I want you to find out where they're at and report back to us, because long time ago, Title I program at Sheldon High was recognized as one of the best Title I schools, right? But we were downing the data. And it just so happened that they had a great program out there, and then they were getting not investigated. They were being evaluated how they were doing it, right? And the bottom line, we had poor students mixed up with, high achievers. We weren't segregating like we do right now just because of housing costs.
We don't segregate students.
What?
We don't segregate students.
I know that, yes, but I know intentionally. So that's what I want, to think as a group. There's issues out there, not only education issues, again, and I think you heard me say this, have you studied
Mr.
community
Bettis.
schools?
Mr.
I like you
Bettis.
people to check out community schools and how effective they are in these targeted groups.
Mr.
That's
Bettis.
very important.
Mr. Bettis.
Yes.
If you would like to set up a meeting with Ms. Jean separately.
Hey, I have an opportunity
you
right
can
now.
do that.
These are my suggestions.
And just a
to the
reminder
committee. What's wrong with that?
she is a full-time student.
Okay.
Not an employee.
Okay.
To be able to do all of this work.
Well, she could delegate it to staff. That's what the students want, right? I mean, she's not going to do it herself. Just have the students want this and want that. See if you get it. Ask. You can ask. Let's see what you get. And ask the question, why don't we have community schools in this district? Study that. That's a big question. I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can. Okay. Ms. Chavez Espinosa.
Apologies for having to step away. Ms. Jean, your position is a really interesting one in that you are our board colleague, not staff. I know that can get lost a little bit in the comments. I think the agenda that you have laid out for your year is ambitious, not unrealistically so, but ambitious. And I just want to commend you particularly on the civic engagement curriculum piece of it. It seems like any gains made there are really going to yield results. In my experience with any kind of civic engagement education, it's really neat to see the dividends often come even years down the road in ways that people least expect them, right? But the idea that as young as elementary school, you or other student leaders are going to be helping to educate students about how government is, how government works, really gives them a leg up for when they are your age or older and do have something that they want to achieve or something that they take issue with, and they will now be just a little bit more empowered to be a part of that process. So I'm really excited to see what you're able to do, and thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I, too, am excited. You've laid out a very ambitious and robust plan for this year, and I'm excited about that. I really appreciate the number of collaborations, and I've also seen you be very active on social media, and I appreciate using different ways to be able to reach the students. So I am excited for what's to come, and just remember that, like Ms. Chavez Espinosa said, we are your colleagues. We're here to help and support you in this work. And I think it's also important for people to see that the work that board members do is not just on the dais. This is a large amount that you are doing outside of showing up for meetings. And I think people sometimes forget that there's a lot of work to be done in the schools with the students and the staff and the teachers. So thank you very much for your commitment.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Bloomquist, we are going to have you back. It's a busy night for you.
Good evening again. All right. In accordance with state law, the Board of Education is requested to declare a public hearing and address the accompanying resolution that will follow that certifies that the Elk Grove Unified School District is in compliance with Ed Code Section 60119, ensuring that each pupil has sufficient instructional materials. Under this Ed Code, the Board of Education shall make a determination through a resolution as to whether each pupil, including each English learner in each school in the district, has sufficient textbooks or instructional materials in each subject, English language arts, mathematics, history, social science, and science, that are aligned with the academic content standards and consistent with the cycles of curriculum framework adopted by the California State Board of Education. Ed Code 60119 also requires that the Board of Education make a written determination as to whether each pupil enrolled in world language or health has sufficient textbooks or instructional materials. Similarly, the Board of Education must determine the availability of laboratory science equipment as applicable to science laboratory courses offered in grades 9 through 12. We have been 100%. We even get quarterly audits, and we've never had a finding, so we are good to go. So therefore, the board is requested to approve resolution number 17, certifying that the Elk Grove School District is in compliance with Ed Code section 60119, ensuring that each pupil has sufficient instructional materials.
Thank you very much. I would now like to open the public hearing and ask Mr. Vargas if we have any blue cards on this item.
Madam President, we have no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to close public hearing and call for a motion to approve resolution number 17, certifying that the Elk Grove Unified School District is in compliance with Education Code section 60119, ensuring that each pupil has sufficient instructional materials.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Vargas and seconded by Mr. Fortuna. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
All right, item 10, Proposition 2. Dr. Coates?
All right, good evening again. Tonight we are requesting the board consider approving resolution number 22. It is the Proposition 2 kindergarten through grade 12 schools and local community college public education facilities Modernization, Repair, and Safety Bond Act of 2024. Proposition 2 authorizes a $10 billion state general obligation bond for facilities at K-12 schools, including transitional kindergarten and community colleges. This bond helps keep the state school facility program intact with no changes to how projects are prioritized. Principal and interest is paid using existing state general fund revenues and not through local tax increases. This allows voters to prioritize state funding for school facilities. This bond could have significant impact on Elk Grove Unified as it includes $8.5 billion for K-12 schools, with money for modernization, new construction, and career technical education facilities. As previously shared, through our facility master plan, we have nearly $2 billion in facility needs with current facilities, in addition to 4 new schools within the next 10 years. It's estimated that Elk Grove Unified School District has $207 million in eligible state funding. This funding availability will be important to maintain our current facility program and address the vast modernization and repair needs and overcrowding in our high growth areas, and would be aligned with our local GO bond measure N. So if passed, Elk Grove Unified would be eligible to apply for funds to support funding our facility master plan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, we have no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to approve resolution number 22, Proposition 2, kindergarten through grade 12 schools and local community college public education facilities modernization, repair, and safety bond act of 2024.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I will second.
It's been moved by Ms. Chavez Espinosa, seconded by Mr. Vargas, and there are questions.
Yeah, I have one question. I have one question of my colleague on the left. Given all your wonderful experiences that you've been having up at the state, what's the rumble on this one?
I'd say the rumble is districts just like ours need both our local bonds and our state bonds. And on this measure specifically, Prop 2, this is how we direct the state to spend the tax dollars that we're already paying for. So,
And what are people's thoughts on the passage?
what are people's thoughts?
Yeah.
Like polling information?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know that we can talk about campaign stuff right now. You have to buy me a
It's
cup
a
of coffee for
campaign.
that.
What's the report?
I think that's kind of,
Yeah, so as far as I understand it,
Yeah.
we're really limited to talk
Yeah.
about kind of educating our community if then.
and, okay. I thought it was, I thought it was still okay.
Yeah, sorry. I like to err on the side of caution.
One quick additional question. You mentioned the 207 million eligibility. Is that the eligibility under the current bond or the current plan, or would that be our eligibility under the new bond? if it
That is with
passes?
our current schools, with the facility master plan, bond or no bond. That's the eligibility that we have with with the age of our schools.
Okay. And do you have any idea of a rough estimate of what we might be eligible for if our bond passes and this one passes?
It's the same because it's based on the age of our buildings. So regardless if we have a local measure or a state measure, if neither one passes, we queue up in line for state funding when it becomes available.
I see.
So
Can
the
I
need's the need.
add to that response?
Yeah, so the need's the need, but the, having a state bond and a local bond allow us to actually fund the projects.
Yeah, as a requirement of accessing the state bond dollars, you have to have your local share already secured. So when you're building a new school, you get some money from development and impact fees, which covers part of it. You might still need some other local funds. They might be able to access to apply for state funds. But for modernization, which is what Dr. Coates is talking about, your site or your building qualifies on every 25th birthday. So that eligibility would be there, but we would not be able to apply for state funds without a local bond.
Mr. Perez.
Yeah, just for public clarification, with respect to the construction of the new schools that you addressed in the next 10 years, are they dependent on the passage of Proposition 2 or not?
They are not dependent on the passage of Proposition 2. We don't have control except to provide support through the approval of a resolution like this. It would be helpful if Proposition 2 were to pass to fund new construction as well as more of the projects in the facility master plan.
Yeah, I was going to ask another question, but I need to err on the side of being...
On the right side of the law.
Thank you, Kristen.
Mr. Perez.
Okay. We have a bond, right? And that's Measure M? N?
We have a
Current bond or future bond?
Well, it's for November that we,
Measure N is
N.
on the ballot November 5th.
okay. And this is the resolution, right?
This is for the state general obligation bond, Proposition 2.
So what's the fiscal impact if this doesn't pass? See, that's what's missing in this particular report. It's a resolution, but it doesn't tell me the pros and cons of how that affect our school district. So it's kind of incomplete to me. And it's not clear. There's no history behind it. And I can see the Proposition 2. Why is our kindergarten to grade 12, there's no mention of preschool in that, pre-kindergarten and all that. But then you included local community college. How does that affect?
We didn't write
Yeah,
this
so-
bond, Mr. Perez.
What?
This is a
I'm talking
state.
about this resolution.
It's a state bond. What we're asking for,
this
Please,
resolution.
please don't interrupt. It's
I'm clarifying you.
I'm trying to, but you always interrupt me.
No,
This
sir.
is a resolution to support a state level bond. The state decided what was going to be in the bond, what grade levels were going to be in the bond. They made that decision. That wasn't a decision that was made at the
What's the
local
name
level.
of- What number is that bond?
2,
Bond 2,
Prop 2,
Prop 2, this,
which is what we're talking about.
okay, like again, it's not clear in this, it says Proposition 2, but who sponsored this
The
proposition?
state of California put it on the ballot.
Okay, why don't you put some history and the fiscal impact, you know?
The $10 billion fiscal impact.
So what we're going to have, what you're saying, the state is going to have a bond. And then we're going to have a bond.
Correct.
And in order to qualify for this bond, we're going to have our own bond request approval and try to get matched using our matching funds for this Proposition 2 funding,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is that clear?
In order to access
Okay.
Prop 2, we have to have local funds to match.
Oh, right. That's one of the requirements.
Correct.
Okay, so I understand.
So the fiscal impact to us of Proposition 2 not passing is that we effectively build about half as many schools and modernize about half as many schools.
And where does the money come from
Where does what money come from?
for those schools?
For which schools?
Exactly. Why don't you say that? There won't be no money. Okay, so this should have had fiscal impact report in there. How would it affect our school district, our community things right here, and like just the other, our bond. So and then. The issue to me, we have experts, school, our contracted, the school, our consulting schools. What's their input? What did they say to us? What's the ramifications? Why weren't they, our consultants, school educational resource, whatever that was, is program, you know, I think why are they left out giving input on this?
Who are you referring to?
It's the program education, what?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, it's called education, where you get all your advice from, with our contractor, or this California School Board Association. What stance are they saying? What advice are they telling us about these things?
CSBA did a great deal of work to get the bond on the ballot.
Exactly. Why don't we have that data? Why don't we have that report? So that's what kind of upsets me.
That's not what this is about.
Yes, it is. If the California School Board Association is supporting this, then we should know that.
That's in your email inbox. You could have read your email.
So
we
anyway,
shared that information with you.
it should have been in our board package.
Or you could read your email.
Yes. So to me, some of us, now I ain't going to say nothing. So, and also, what's the latest on in our committee on this bond? I haven't heard anything.
I think we're off
That-
topic.
We don't have the district does not have a committee for the bond.
We have internal committee in this board that's dealing with that thing. You are, yes.
We
what's
do
the latest
not.
on that?
We do not.
That is off the agenda.
We provide educational information related to the bond. As a school district, that's what we're allowed to do. There's a separate committee doing the work related to the political campaign.
Okay.
That information is not.
Can I have that report? Is there
No,
a
you
report
can
to
you
me?
can contact the people running the campaign.
What?
You can contact the folks that are running the campaign. We're not doing that.
You're not doing it? Are you having conversations? Emailing? Texting?
Not during my work hours.
That is not a public
That is
activity.
illegal.
No, it's not a public activity.
Mr.
That's all I
Perez,
got.
do you
That's
have
all I
any?
got.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you very much for the presentation. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, we have no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to, we already called for, okay. I would then like to, I'd like to call the question, and all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
You have to speak, Mr. Perez. Raising your hand doesn't do any good.
Roll call vote.
There's no roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Riley, employment agreements for non-represented employees.
Thank you, President Jamerson, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos. California Government Code Section 54953C3 requires that a verbal summary of the proposed compensation and fringe benefits be given to the public prior to the final board action on certain employment agreements. The 3 employment agreements for 1, Assistant Superintendent for Schools Elementary, 2, Executive Director of School Supports, and 3, Executive Director of School Supports require board action in an open session at a regular school board meeting. Each of the proposed employment agreements contain the following material terms. The term of all 3 employment agreements is from October 1, 2024 to and including June 30th, 2027. Based upon receipt of a satisfactory evaluation for the 2024-2025 school year, the term of the proposed 3 employment agreements may be extended unless terminated to an earlier date by the parties or extended by the parties. Work year. The work year for all 3 employees is a 261-day work year consisting of 222 base service days, 16 holidays, and 23 vacation days. C, compensation. Cabinet members' salary shall align with the step increments and the salary schedule structure included in the applicable employment agreements and the salary schedules attached to their agreements. As a result, the following constitutes each of the 3 employees' pay on the following effective date. Effective beginning October 1, 2024, and for the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year, the following cabinet members shall receive the following base salary consistent with their applicable 2024-2025 salary schedule and step placement. Assistant Superintendent of Schools Elementary, Jennifer Avey's base salary at step 11 shall be $221,613. Executive Director of School Support, Lisa Lavasser's base salary at step 7 shall be $191,336. Executive Director of School Support, Amrik Singh's base salary at step 13 shall be $211,088. Health and welfare benefits. All 3 employees will receive the same health and welfare benefits and retiree benefits as other district certificated employees, as those benefits may change from time to time consistent with their employment agreements. Expense reimbursement. All 3 employees will receive $100 per month for travel within district boundaries, irrespective of the number of miles traveled on district business. This concludes the summary of the following cabinet employment agreements. Assistant Superintendent of Schools Elementary, Executive Director of School Support, Executive Director of School Support. Copies of the employment agreements will be available upon request.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vargas, do we have any blue cards on this item?
Madam President, there are no blue cards on this item.
I would then like to call for a motion to approve the employment agreements for Assistant Superintendent of Schools Elementary, Executive Director of School Supports, and Executive Director of School Supports.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Vargas and seconded by Ms. Chavez Espinosa. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Opposed?
Calling for a roll call vote.
There's no need.
No, there isn't.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We now have board member and superintendent reports.
I have no major reports, but I do want to thank the board as we continue to make the adjustment at the how we're delivering services to the school sites. And so the approval of the cabinet agreements tonight is greatly appreciated. Has been an absolute phenomenal start of the school year. And, we did share the presentation at the special board meeting, and I do encourage folks to go and look at the absolute heroic effort it takes to get 68 schools and all the other services that we do up and running. And so I just want to thanks again to the staff, and thanks for the board of the support to be able to do the work. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I would then like to adjourn this meeting at 8:14. Thank you.